Today we're going to read Dog Breath, The Horrible Trouble with Halitosis by Dave Pilkey. Can anybody tell me if they've ever heard of halitosis? What does it mean? Yep, we know that it's the scientific word for bad breath. So I wonder if the author has used halitosis somehow in a figurative way. Let's find out. Dog Breath, The Horrible Trouble with Halitosis by Dave Pilkey. There once was a dog named Hallie who lived with the Tosis family. Halitosis was a very good dog, but she had a big problem. Halitosis had horrible breath. Whenever Halitosis opened her mouth, horrible things happened. When the children took Halitosis for a walk, everyone else walked on the other side of the street. Even skunks avoided halitosis. What can we infer from the sentence, even skunks avoided halitosis? That's right. The author is suggesting that Hallie smells worse than a skunk. It must smell very bad. But the real trouble started one day when Grandma Tosis stopped by for a cup of tea, and Hallie jumped up to say hello. Mr. and Mrs. Tosis were not amused. Something has to be done about that smelly dog, they said. The next day, Mr. and Mrs. Tosis decided to find a new home for Hallie. The children knew that the only way they could save their dog was to get rid of her bad breath. So they took Halitosis to the top of a mountain that had a breathtaking view. I see in the picture a wanted poster. Can everybody see that? There's a wanted poster right there. It says wanted for burglary. I wonder if that's a clue. Does anybody know the literary term for when an author provides a clue to something that happens later in the story? That's right, foreshadowing. So let's see if that in fact is a clue or foreshadowing for something that happens later. They hoped that the breathtaking view would take Hallie's breath away, but it didn't. Next, the children took Halitosis to a very exciting movie. They hoped that all the excitement would leave Hallie breathless. But it didn't. Finally, the children took Halitosis to a carnival. They hoped that Hallie would lose her breath on a speedy roller coaster. But that idea stunk too. The plans to change Hallie's bad breath had failed. Now only a miracle could save Halitosis. Sadly, the three friends said good night, unaware that a miracle was just on the horizon. Okay, I would say now would be a good time to try to make some predictions of what we think might happen to Hallie and what the solution to Hallie's problem might be. Does anybody have any ideas? Later that night, when everyone was sound asleep, two sneaky burglars crept into the Tosis house. The two burglars were tiptoeing through the dark, quiet rooms when suddenly they came upon Halitosis. "Yikes!" whispered one burglar. "It's a big, mean, scary dog." "Ah, don't be silly," whispered the other burglar. That's only a cute little fuzzy puppy. The two burglars giggled at the sight of such a friendly little dog. That dog couldn't hurt a fly, whispered one burglar. Come here, Poochie Poochie, whispered the other. So Halitosis came over and gave the burglars a nice big kiss. Slurp! Oh no, I wonder what's going to happen next. The next morning, the Tosis family awoke to find the two burglars passed out cold on their living room floor. It was a miracle. Huh. Remember that wanted sign that we saw for the two burglars? I think that was, in fact, foreshadowing. It was a clue what was going to happen in the story. Tosis family got a big reward for turning in the crooks, and soon Halitosis was the most famous crime-fighting dog in the country. In the end, Mr. and Mrs. Tosis changed their minds about finding a new home for Hallie. They decided to keep their wonderful watchdog after all. Because life without halitosis just wouldn't make any sense.